Identity orientations refer to the importance that individuals place when they're creating their identity. So every time I ask, where am I from? It's easy for me to jump and say, oh, I'm Dominican because I was born and raised in there. But my family background is from Spain, France, and mostly like all Dominicans, there's some African in all of us. Also, my identity, I can't only speak Spanish, like Spanish is my first language, but Spanish and French are literally what I can define myself more. I came to this country when I was 10, so as soon as I came here, I learned English, which is my third language. So there's so many things about identity that is exactly what defines us and makes us different from other people. So also when I came here, when I joined Bergen, I learned leadership skills, and that's something that nobody can take away from me. I became the president of the Latin American Student Association, and I'm a role model for not only Latin American students, but also to non-Latin American students. And I feel that it is one of the most important skills that I have gained.
I feel like an outsider because the question assumes that I'm not from here, that I am from somewhere else, and that somewhere else, I think, is easily seen by my appearance, which is obviously an Asian. So I'm an Asian American, and my Asian heritage is extremely important to who I am. But there are other aspects of myself that are just as important. My connection with other people are really important to me as a wife, mom, professor, and my friends. So I am shaped by the people who are around me, and my character, my personality, my interests, they're all important part of who I am. And yet, when I'm asked the question of where are you from, all those other aspects of who I am become undermined or understated, and I become very one-dimensional. So I've been struggling with this sense of alienation or not being part of the central part of the society since I came to the US. But I think actually it's not so terrible to feel like an outsider, because over the years, I feel that I was able to choose to be more compassionate and empathetic to people who are just as alienated, perhaps marginalized. And it's not just about ethnic heritage. It could be about the gender identity. It could be age. It could be their height, weight. In some ways, we all feel like, most of us anyway, feel like we're not quite the center people in the world. And I think I could be more sensitive to that. And intellectually, I really try hard to understand this issue of identity by studying multicultural psychology. So in some sense, it has helped me, the sense of alienation. And it's been a great journey.
Well, if you had asked me this question 2 decades ago, I would have said, well, I'm an Asian Indian living in New York. I completely relate to being in India, coming from India, and being an Indian and being proud of it. But question changed in recent times. Now, if someone is to ask me where I'm from, I consider myself as an Asian Indian living in New York, who comes from New York. The city has taught me a lot. It has taught me how to keep my culture and my religion intact while living in day-to-day routine. And I still have my parents who helped me grow in the Indian tradition. So those plus what I have learned from the culture living in this country, kind of a blend of the two. So I consider myself a good blend of East meeting the West. Recently, in about 7 years ago, I had my son, when he started school, he had a kid who was teasing him in school, calling him an Indian based on what he was first looked like. And I thought, as a parent, it's okay, he'll get over it, things will move on, they're small kids. However, it didn't go, it escalated to a point where I had to intervene, and I had to write to the teacher, and the teacher assured me that they will try to fix the situation. So the both actually did talk it out in school, and now, interestingly enough, are good friends with each other. So what I learned from that situation was that two people coming from different cultures, different backgrounds, can actually live in a common space. And if you ask me today who I am, I would say I'm an Asian Indian New Yorker.
When I'm asked the question, I automatically think about myself as a Korean. I think it's because I have lived in Korea for more than half of my life and also got educated within its own culture. But then that's part of the fact that I've lived in the USA for several years. I couldn't think of myself as being American. I think it's probably of my lack of proficiency in English, and also whenever I confront situations that makes me alienated from people. That's the time whenever I feel that I'm still far from being American.
I'm not asked that question a lot, first of all, probably because I'm a white male, and people sort of equate that with quote-unquote American, whatever that means. But if I am asked that question, I generally just assume people mean, where do I live? Or at most, where did I grow up as a child? But again, it generally has a local connotation for when someone like me is asked that question. But I acknowledge that a lot of other people that may not look like me or have an accent of some kind are asked that question more often, and it has a different meaning when it is asked of someone else. There's almost an implication that someone is not American. To me, what does that mean even, to be American? It means you're here in this country, you live here, you work here, you want to be here. But maybe perhaps that's not the same definition that other people use, and that's what generates the question, where are you from?
Growing up with a biracial background, it definitely broadens the routes I can go with this answer. Culture clash has definitely become commonplace in my household, but also it's so beautiful to watch the two intertwine and sort of complement each other really well. Being half Filipino has been really a blessing. To be able to carry culture from across the world, that's such an honor. And to be able to bring diversity into this already mixed country, that's really something I'm proud of. As for being half American, although it's difficult because it conflicts with the Asian aspect that I carry, it has also really helped me establish my roots here and understand democracy and the way people behave in this nation. So when I do get asked where I'm from, where I come from, aspects of my identity I think about are the strains that my parents underwent in regards to my upbringing at home. I'm a product of language barrier, cultural misunderstanding, and monetary difficulties, but I am the product of hard work, patience, and devotion. So where do I come from, you ask? I come from the hope that people can come together despite different backgrounds in peace and unity.